Corey, ASU fans aren't known to be the brightest, but if they heard the Master P rumors, it should make them say, nah. Welcome into another episode of McKale Madness. Thank you so much for joining us today on this beautiful Tuesday evening. I got my guy Corey. I'm Saul, as you all know. Also, by the way, that is the second No Limit Soldier reference this year alone. Because Corey earlier said, "Do I get to fly? Do I get an upgrade if I was a No Limit Soldier from '94 to '98?"
Hey, they was like now boarding all military pre-board. I said I served in No Limit from like '98 to 2001. Does that count? I mean, I was waving the towels and the tank had a tank chain and a gold tooth, all of that.
Man, I was so hyped. Listen, man, that's probably the best cold open in the history of PHNX, just so we all know, so we're all clear. But I did want to start it off, and it's ironic that I would throw some shade at ASU fans because their basketball, like, you know, listen, they're vouching for some dudes that I feel like have no business being a head coach. But hey, regardless, we do have a Sun Devil on the show today, but he's a noted, reputable basketball hoop head. So we will allow it. We'll allow it. But first, he actually asked the King himself, King James, about Bryce and the Arizona experience, and we'll just play that before we intro him.
Oh man, with Arizona. That's the perfect last question, man.
Yeah. How cool is it to see him, be a part of that and have you penciled Arizona in as national champions?
It's a great. Listen, man. To have our kid be able to experience that, to see the joy on his face, the happiness that he has being there in Arizona, learning from a lot of the vets and learning from, some of the guys that he came into class with. I think it's just a great experience, and it's going to pay dividends for him going into next year. But he's just living in the moment. I don't know, none of you guys know Bryce, but he's kind of literally just like me when it comes to how we I'm like him. I'm a big ass Bryce. That's what I am, But to see the success that they're having and him enjoying that and being able to experience that, I always say the best teacher in life is experience. So, of course, I don't have a choice but to root for Arizona. I mean, my son's there. He's, so I'm definitely rooting for them in the tournament, and we see what happens.
Thanks, sir.
All right, yep, appreciate it.
Austin's going there.
And with that, we will introduce the man that asked that question, the one, the only, Mr. Chancellor Johnson from the Big 12. What's going on, my guy, Chance?
You know what? Thanks for having me on the show, but I'm still kind of stuck on the intro, that cold open, right? What was that you said about ASU fans? That was crazy. That was crazy work.
Because obviously the rumor today was that Master P was interested in the Sun Devils job. Take that for what it's worth. So I figured, listen, before we start vouching for Master P to be the head coach of Arizona State, let's just make sure we back up a little bit and, take it with a grain of salt. But listen, Chancellor, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Obviously, you've been watching ball here, a lot of Big 12 basketball. You've seen Arizona multiple times. You've seen Houston and Iowa State. What was your overall takeaway from the Big 12 tournament when you were able to get back home and just kind of really think about what that weekend really had in store for everybody?
Yeah, man. Well, for starters, it starts with Arizona, the tournament champions. What they were able to do in that tournament just solidified everything that I already knew about them. That this team is not just contending to get back to the Final Four for the first time since 2001, but they should be the favorites of winning a national championship. And for them to get in a shootout versus Iowa State and still pull that off, and obviously the heroics by Jaden Bradley, and for them to have a shootout versus Iowa State, then follow that up against a team that they beat on the road. So Houston, and I talked to some of the players in the Cougars locker room, they wanted some get back. And Arizona wasn't having it. And for the most part in that game, they led most of that game. And so, you know, to me, they can just beat you in so many different ways, whether that's defensively, they can lock you down, or if they need to get in a shootout, they can do that as well. They have the best closer in the country. And on top of that, they have a fantastic coach who we can make the argument with the job that he did this year that maybe he's the best coach in the country, right? He will be the coach of the year this year, no doubt. That to me, I think Arizona should be the favorites. And coming from a Sun Devil, I have them taking it all and winning a national championship.
Well, that's that. Hey, listen, that's huge praise. Corey's having some technical difficulties, folks. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I know what's going on there.
He tried to do the whole like. All right, well, hey, we're just gonna move on. I used your video in a little montage because you were sitting there courtside when Jaden Bradley hit the game winner against Iowa State. That Iowa State game. I've been to a lot of games in my day. And I'm definitely regretting not going to Kansas City this time around. But, man, that was probably one of the best games of the season, if not the best game of the season. And, honestly, one of the best Big 12 championship games in history.
Absolutely.
Semifinal games, sorry.
No, sure. But absolutely. It was crazy because in the moment, as I'm at the game and I'm watching it live, I don't think I was realizing the level of shot making that we got from both teams. And if you look back on that game, it was absolutely absurd. And you can actually go back to the end of that first half where Milan Momcilovic, the best shooter in the country, had a 9-0 run by himself with 35 seconds to go at the end of the first half against Arizona, right? A team that we know doesn't make goofy mistakes like that, right? Doesn't allow teams to go on massive runs like that, especially not in that short amount of time span. And then he was matched by Anthony DeRosso. And for him to come in off the bench and in big moments. And that's the thing about Arizona is they can, once again, I talked about how they can beat you in so many different ways. One night, it could be Jaden Bradley going off, or it could be Cole Pete in the Houston game where, remember, Cole Pete didn't play at Houston that first game. And a great defensive team in Houston. Cole Pete has 20-plus points. Braden Burris gets going against Houston. And so, I mean, I could go on about Arizona. It's really crazy because I've watched them so much this season. But, yeah, the level of shot making was absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, it was capped off by Jaden Bradley with fantastic defense by Killian Toure right on his hip. And it still didn't matter. And if you ask, most guys, most coaches, really that's a bad shot, right? Like that kind of one-legged turnaround from your 6'1" point guard is not maybe the right shot for most players, but Jaden Bradley is most players, especially not in the clutch. It's like he turns the sliders up. He's such a fantastic player. And yeah, I mean, what a great game we had in Kansas City in the semifinals.
It's really crazy because Jaden Bradley, I think the stat that they used was Jaden Bradley averages 35 points in 40 minutes of clutch time basketball, which is insane. That's an insane stat. 35 points. That's basically seven points for every 5 minutes, which is just nuts. Corey, you back? You back, Corey?
Apparently I am.
Corey, are we beefing? Did I do something? I know it's my first time on the show. And it's
it's technical, man. Google, it's about your browser. Safari and Chrome are two different things. So Safari is out, Chrome is in, and we back. So we're good to go.
Corey was like, man, we can't have too many brothers with glasses on this show. So,
I said,
Hey. But, Corey, we were just talking about Iowa State and that phenomenal game. We haven't really had a chance to chop it up with you either about, what you saw in that game and your ultimate takeaway, just Iowa State before we get to Houston.
Iowa State game, they hit us with everything except the kitchen sink, and they were hitting threes, and they were playing at the level they probably played the best game. I won't even say the best game of the season. They played the best game of recent Iowa State basketball history, and they still got beat. And I'm thinking to myself, as with going to the locker room, like, yo, we just did everything, and these fools just beat us again. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how do you bounce back from that for a tough, tournament right around the corner? But I thought they played a great game. They're very familiar with us. We're very familiar with them. But our guys just toughed it out. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this team really never feels like they don't have a chance to win. Whether it's foul trouble, guys having off nights, guys unavailable, 6-man rotation, 8-man rotation, this team finds a way, and they never seem to get shook, or they never seem to get they never get in a position where they're going to have 5 or 6 bad possessions and just give the game away. They don't play that way. So that's a reassuring thing. I thought that was a huge win for us emotionally. You look for those high moments to propel your team further. And honestly, the team that cuts down the nets, and I know this sounds corny, but it's just the truth. The team that cuts down the nets is the team that has the belief they can cut down the nets. That's what you need. You need to actually see yourself as being able to do that. And I think that's what that Iowa State win did.
You know what's crazy is, you know, and Corey, you know this. Tommy's been preaching all season long. Next game. It doesn't, like, whatever happened. Maybe you sit there and you dwell on it for an hour or celebrate it for an hour, and then you're on to the next one. Like, it's definitely a next game mentality. And when he was talking to the press yesterday or on Sunday about this, he was talking about how the question was asked, how were you able to get your guys refocused heading into Houston after that emotional, you know, tough game against Iowa State? And Tommy was like, we've been doing it all season. Like, you know, we celebrated in the moment for that hour. And then it's time to get prepped for Houston because we got a short turnaround and they're playing right now. And that's what it's just so businesslike. And, you know, Chancellor, you know, obviously you've seen these freshmen. The group as a whole just feels like a professional basketball team in terms of their mentality, their approach. They don't get too silly. They don't get too high, too down. Like, they're just very focused, it feels like. When you saw them play against Houston, and you've seen Houston a lot, living in the Houston area yourself, what really blew you away about how they were able to dismantle Houston's attack?
Absolutely. I want to get back to that in 1 second, but I want to address something that Corey mentioned when he talked about Iowa State. As far as how do the Cyclones bounce back from that game, right? After a tough loss like that, as you go to the NCAA tournament. To me, I actually think it's the opposite. I think talking to Iowa State's, you know, head coach TJ Otzelberger and then the players as well, if anything, they walked away with even more confidence. We were right there. Right. And the thing is, because Arizona is the standard, because Arizona has been the favorites this season, and they are expected to be in the, you know, Final Four national championship game. If you're Iowa State, you feel like, hey, we were one play away. And even then, as I mentioned earlier when I was talking to Saul, is Killian Torrey was right there on Jaden Bradley. And it was great defense, just better offense, right? And so, if anything, I think if I was a Cyclones fan, I would be feeling very excited because that is the best the trio has looked in Taman Lipsey and Joshua Jefferson and Milan Momcilovic together in a while. Joshua Jefferson, he towards the back end of the season, he wasn't playing at the same standard as an All-American level, but he was great in that game. So if anything, I would say for Iowa State, they should feel pretty good heading into the tournament. With that being said, as far as the freshmen go at Arizona, the maturity is off the charts. And talking to Braden Burries and Koa Pete after the game, against Houston, they just won a tournament championship. And Braden, I don't know if it was because he was still sick, if he had too much mucinex, as he told me after the game, because he was messed up, and which is why he didn't have a great game against Iowa State in that one. They were very just like business as usual in a way. Like, yeah, we had a you know, great accomplishment here, but there's more work to be done. And that's been the theme about Arizona this entire season, is they know there's more for them, and that's the national championship. And so even in what Brett Yormark has called the second best league in the world, basketball league in the world, right behind the NBA, and they for the most part, if you look at, they won the Big 12 by 2 games, right? And then, you know, in the championship game, they beat the second seed in Houston, and they controlled that game throughout. And so that just shows you how good Arizona is. And so the maturity of, you know, the freshmen, I think it's led by a guy like Jaden Bradley, who's calm, cool, and under composure at all times. And then that extends all the way up to the top with Tommy Lloyd. You know, you watch him on the sidelines, and it's just his hands in his pockets. You know, for the most part, he's not very demonstrative like you see some other coaches. He's very chill. But of course, we see his players respect him, and you see the product and the results on the court. And to me, just the maturity goes from top to bottom with this Arizona Wildcats team.
Corey, I know that that run that Houston made to cut it down to 1. Most of the time, when Houston goes on a run like that, they find a way to choke you out.
Yeah.
But Arizona found a way to disregard that and move along and get theirs back, get back into the lead, you know, and extend the lead. I think up to 9 points at one point. When you watch the down the stretch, the last 5 minutes of that game, what really stood out to you?
Well, 2 things. One, I want to go back to the Iowa State thing.
I love the dialogue. I love the dialogue.
The fans can take a moral victory from, oh, we played good and we almost won. But as a hooper, when that ball drops and you lose and you get that sinking feeling in your stomach, like, damn, he just hit that. that does something to all hoopers. There's no moral victory. You're like, damn. So what happens in the tournament when you see games slipping away and teams getting upset? Saul, you've been on the court. You've been on the court. I've been on the court. There's that sinking feeling of, damn, it's happening again. That's what Jaden Bradley may have put in their soul. Now, they can sit there and give all the comments, oh, it's a moral victory, we played good. But at the end of the day, that sting of a loss, that doubt, yeah, they've got to drive that out of their brain and retool for the tournament because, as you know, I've been on the court while Steve Nash was running out the clock against Santa Clara. Like, how in the hell did this happen? We lost earlier that year on a buzzer beater to Kentucky in Maui. So that ghost is always in your brain as a hooper, like, oh, it's okay. They're the number one team in the country. You guys played it great. No, that don't help us. That's for fans to talk like that. But the hoopers and the coaches know we wanted that damn win. Now, fast forward to the Houston going up 13. I was like, of course they're going to go up 13. Toby's got 3 or 4 fouls. Tommy had to work his rotation with no bigs. They had Koa Pete at the 5. Houston went straight to work, like 4 straight layups with no bigs on the floor. And I've been saying this all season. When Arizona has full use of its 8 people, it's hard for somebody to bang for a solid 40 minutes. So when Tommy got inside the final 6 and was able to get his bigs out there again, you saw the team come roaring back. I've said it over and over. The only team that's going to beat Arizona are the refs. Arizona is too big and they're too strong for most teams to hang with them for 40 minutes. Most teams only have 1 good big man. Arizona has 3. Who are you going to foul? And how often are you going to foul? And Tommy, and to your other point, Chancellor, Tommy does a great job of not saying nothing to the refs. Sometimes working the refs is not saying nothing. Because the coaches that work the refs do that because they have to. Bro, I only got 2 guards and a big man. That's a horrible call. I need every foul. I need this. I need that. Tommy's like, yo, I'm 8 deep, bro. I ain't gonna say nothing to you. I don't need you. I need you calling what you should be calling on the high-low. Calling what you should be calling when Tobey gets a rebound in traffic. Calling what you should be calling when Jaden goes downhill. Our shit is like Novocaine. Just give it time. It's gonna work. We don't need to yell at the refs. We don't want to, and the kids feed into that too. They don't complain to the refs. So when you're the 800-pound gorilla, why make an enemy with the 3 officials? If they literally stick to the script and call the fouls, you've seen Arizona put people in foul trouble. You've seen Texas Tech scramble to try to put a lineup out there because Arizona's too big. It's the same soup, just reheated. And I thought the Houston run was made at a time where Arizona had to go small. And yeah, Houston's good. You go small against Houston, you're going to have problems. But I've said it all along. The only thing I'm watching in this tournament is the foul count. That's it. I ain't watching nothing else.
Wow. Okay. All right. It was Chance. I don't know if you've done a bracket. I haven't seen anything in your bracket. I assume that you have Arizona going pretty far, if not winning it all. But who else besides Arizona do you like out of the Big 12 to make it to the Final Four?
Yeah, to me, I think it's only 3 teams that can actually get there. And for me, it would be Arizona, Iowa State, and Houston. And so I'm actually, after what I saw Iowa State do and perform against Arizona, I do like the way that they played. To me, it's their best. It's been their best basketball they played, in a while, as I mentioned, with the trio coming together. And so it will be interesting, to Corey's point. Like, it is one thing to talk as far as like, yeah, we feel like we're right there. It motivates us even more. It's another to walk the walk. So we'll see early on, how that fares. So I think that is certainly a good point. And I asked TJ Alsenberger about that, and that was his thing. Is he was saying, hey, listen, if anything, we feel like we are right there. So we're going to actually see. So to me, it's Iowa State and then Houston. Now, I will say with Houston, I think they need a couple of things to go right their way, because I think their offensive struggles in spurts against good teams does bother me, right? As far as the defense is there. But
Uzan can't play passive. Not like he did for the majority of that game until like the last 5 minutes. Then he finally decided to turn it on. He hit some big buckets, but it was like too little too late. And I've been watching Milos do that for a while. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, my guy?
Oh, my goodness. Listen, I've been on Milos since the beginning of the season, especially after they lost in that tournament game, because we saw – and the thing about Milos, the reason why I kind of pick on him is because I've seen it. I saw the talent. I saw that back half of the season last year going to the tournament to where he went from his numbers jumped and there was conversations about going to the draft. And he went through the workouts and all that good stuff. And in the past couple of years, that's been the Houston formula and it's worked. It happened to Marcus Sasser. He came back. He won Big 12 Player of the Year, All-American. It happened to Jamal Shed, same results. And so I'm like, oh, Milos Uzan, should be next in line. And then you pair with the Kingston Flemings, who, end up being a third-team All-American, and you might have the best backcourt in the country. And then there's times where Mercy Miller's coming off the bench as a redshirt sophomore, more aggressive. And that's a problem as a senior, as a guy who can get there. Because Emmanuel Sharp is going to do what he does, right? He's liable for 15, 25 points. He's going to knock down some big shots. He's going to show up, and he's going to guard your best player, right? But in order for them to get to where they want to go, in order for them to beat a Michigan, a Duke, a Arizona, if Milos Uzan doesn't show up, they have no chance to beat the elite teams. And that's what I meant on Milos.
Let me propose something to you, and I'm going to ask you a question. Does Uzan, and just give me your honest opinion, does Uzan have the same clarity and certainty of mind in his game that a Daniel Del Orso does? Mission-based. In other words, what I'm hinting at, Anthony Del Orso. What did I call him last time? I called him Daniel. I called him Daniel Del Orso because he was playing like Daniel that time we were talking about him. But my point is, when it comes to consistency and knowing your job, sometimes you can have too many cooks in the kitchen. You know what I mean? So how is a talented player struggling with consistency this late into the season? We're 30-something games into the season, and to your point, you feel like he's still up and down, right? And I'm saying he's got the talent. Where does he get his shots from? When is he expected to score? When does he flip the switch and call his own number? Nobody on Arizona has that thought process because they've been playing 8 guys since the very first game. So they all know, do your thing. When you come in, do your thing. There's no question about what shots you take, what your shots look like. But then when I see talented players like you just mentioned still on the wave, I'm thinking, have they had that discussion with a superstar player like Flemings? Is there a situation where he doesn't really know when to call his own shot? What is your opinion? Because you followed them a lot closer than I have, but they're too talented to be that inconsistent. And that's my opinion.
No, that's very fair. I would say last year Milos was on the ball more. And so he had LJ Cryer, who you could do a lot with. LJ Cryer could play on ball, he could play off ball, you could move him off screens, all that good stuff. And then he was flanked by Emmanuel Sharp as well. So he had 2 shooters on the outside. Versus now, Houston is at their best when Kingston Flemings has the ball. But I think for them to maximize their offensive potential, it has to be kind of like yin and yang, right? Like Jaden Bradley and Braden Burris are able to coexist. And we see, to me, I think they make up together the best backcourt in the country. I don't see anybody else who's touching them versus production and chemistry. I don't see a reason why Kingston Flemings and Milos Uzan can't be the same thing. I think talent level, just in general, like they're in the same realm, and we can get debate that or not. But to me, like they're in the same realm to where it should work. They both can shoot. For the most part, Uzan's a better catch and shooter than Flemings is, but they both can put the ball on the floor. My biggest issue with Milos is I need him to be aggressive. Even if he doesn't take 15 shots a game, same thing with Jaden Bradley. Like Jaden Bradley he can do what you need from me today, coach. You need me to score, or you need me to facilitate. Milos Uzan can do the same thing. I don't understand why he hasn't. And to me, once again, if he doesn't do that, the Houston Cougars will not be cutting down nets later on.
One other question for you. I want to go all the way back to the Cyclones. I told people before they went to Tucson they was going to get cracked. I told them they're going to get cracked by double digits. And people are like, why do you say that? I said, because they shoot too many threes and they don't use their big men at all. Their big men are like placeholders. They're like just out there for nothing but to set screens. I did not think Iowa State had an inside game, and you cannot come into McKale Center jacking threes and think you're going to beat Arizona. They went 7 for 30, and they got their doors blown off. That bothers me when we talk about neutral site games in the tournament. Are you going to hoist up 33s in the NCAA tournament in a neutral site and not use your bigs? Because that may get you through the first weekend. But as you and I know, you can't count on perimeter shooting when you start playing teams that got bigs and they're playing inside out, and you're hoping you can get hot in a neutral site in a row. Does Iowa State's offense concern you in the second round?
I would say this to counteract. Okay. I would normally agree with that assessment, Corey, but I think they have 2 bigs that are so flexible that can play all over the court, especially in Jefferson. He can play inside and outside, and that's a mismatch for any big that has to guard him. And we saw that early on against Arizona. And then when you look at Momcilovic, like, again, man, they're sitting, this dude's coming off screens like Reggie Miller, 45 screens, and bigs are trying to guard him. And yeah, I would say, yeah, when you're playing at McKale, that's tough. And we saw Arizona go to Kansas and have a tough time. Neutral site or home court, I think it's a little bit different. And I think Iowa State does travel very well. So I don't think it's going to be quite the same. I think Momcilovic will still pop off. I thought if Iowa State hit 10 threes or more, they might win the game. They hit 14 and lost, but they lost against one of the premier teams in the country. There's not a lot of matchups to where if Iowa State drops 14 on you, that they're going to be able to survive. I just don't see a team out there that can.
So to Corey's point, it's funny to me because you're looking at it, and I understand it, and not to, but you're looking at it from an Arizona perspective, right? Meaning, like, yes, they don't match up well versus Arizona, but nobody does. Nobody does.
Yeah.
So if anything, I look at it the opposite way. And so what I mean by that is teams that they play throughout the tournament, have they seen a trio as good as Tamin Lipsey, Joshua Jefferson, and Milo Momcilovic, right? They haven't. And to me, and that's why I think Big 12 teams are going to do very well because you've seen it all. You've dealt with a good program that's led by a superstar player. You've got that with AJ DeBonson. So say hypothetically, whoever runs into Arkansas, obviously is different positions, but you get my point as far as stylistically. You've seen a physical, gritty defense because you get that in Iowa State and you get that in Houston, right? So you've seen different things to where teams are going to come in and battle tested. So on the flip side, like, how will other teams respond when they've never seen the talent before, like AJ DeBonson? Right? I think AJ DeBonson by himself can go very far. I'm interested about Texas Tech. We haven't talked about them as well. With Christian Anderson, if he's healthy, he's one of the most dynamic players in the country. And right now, like, they've kind of figured it out without JT Toppin. They didn't play that well against Iowa State, but I have no doubt about Grant McCassin will have them ready for the NCAA tournament. But look, Texas Tech can do some damage as well. So I think when you're in the Big 12, you're really battle tested, and because you've seen so many different things, that it'll be an advantage for them moving forward.
It's a good point because I do have my Arizona goggles on. I'm old school, and I'm like, the tournament is win or go home, and I'm not trying to win games from 25 feet away. If my big is better than your big, we going inside till something changed. Just because it's literally do or die every game. But that's me and my coaching approach to it, and they are extremely talented. I'm all about the Big 12 going forward. I'm cheering for every Big 12 team to go as far as they can because it's good for the conference. I just wonder, man, if they fall in love with that three-point line, and these small teams, they love to pack it in, they love to go zone, they love to go boxing one, try to survive, make it to the final 5 minutes, and pull off an upset. I would hate to see that happen to the Cyclones.
Obviously we could praise Arizona all day long, but it is the tournament, and inevitably you get a challenge or two before you make a run. If Arizona were to lose to any team, what would you say right now would be the reason why?
Corey, I'll let you go first on that one.
No. This is your question, my guy. This is your question.
Well, it depends because, like, I have to see it, man. Like, because I talked about it earlier, they can beat you in so many different ways, and they adjust so well. As I mentioned, they can go big, they can go small, all that good stuff, right? So to me, for starters, I think they're upset proof. I don't think there's going to be a team that can come in if you don't have the dudes to match, and most people don't. And so I think it'll be to at least Sweet 16, more so Elite 8 before I think they're actually tested. Their record speaks for itself, and as I mentioned, they've seen it all. And you asked me my takeaway from the Big 12 tournament. It just solidified everything I already saw. They did it in a neutral site to open the season against Florida. Then they did it in Los Angeles against UCLA. Then they did it against Alabama in Alabama. Then they went to UConn and beat Connecticut in Connecticut, right? Like, how much more do you want from them? They beat Houston in Houston. Houston doesn't lose at home, and they showed that. Then in neutral sites, what we're going to see moving forward, they beat Iowa State and Houston. And if you check most brackets, they'll have both the Cyclones and Houston in most of them. So what more do you want from Arizona? So to me, I have to see it to believe it. And, until we get there, once again, at some point they will be challenged, but I don't think that'll be an issue until, honestly, if I'm being honest, Elite 8.
All right.
I agree 100%. I think Arizona's a team, they don't beat themselves. They don't turn over the ball. They don't play bad. They don't go ice cold from the floor. Hell, they beat Colorado by 20 and Jaden Bradley didn't score a point. I mean, that's just, they're that team. And even when they've gone to Houston without Koa Pete, they still gutted out a win in Houston. Nobody had won in Houston since Christ was a child. This team is just a physical team, and the referees can make it difficult and leave them shorthanded with fouls, where Arizona can put themselves in foul trouble and play sloppy. But I think you're right. They've seen everything that college basketball has to offer in the regular season. The tournament is just now they got to find a way to repeat those performances.
Well, it's time to take a look at the fun as it all starts. But we do want to say thank you to Chancellor Johnson for joining us today, and we'll get him out of here. But Chancellor, tell the people where they can find you at. I know you can find him on Twitter at Chancellor TV, Instagram, yes?
Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Chancellor TV, putting out some content. And I actually have something special for Arizona fans coming out later on this week. I know everybody will enjoy it. We talked about him a little bit on the show, and so I got some for Arizona fans. But I appreciate all the support, that people showing love, and also too, like, this has been a great conversation. Like, I've had a lot of takes, I haven't really
we got to get it back.
So this was a great, like, basketball conversation, and I'm excited for other people to see it as well.
Chance, I'm gonna get at you, but I will leave with this. We can't. Well, I know we're gonna do our upsets, but I definitely want your feedback on my upsets, because I have one that I think you gonna like.
Sounds good, my man.
I have a retort to that one, and I know which one it is, and I completely disagree with it already. So
so it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. No, me and Saul don't agree either, but this is great because now we got 3 people that don't agree. So you got to come back. We got to have you on again.
Sounds good.
Chancellor, thank you so much, man. We'll catch up with you down the road.
Appreciate it.
All right. That's Chancellor Johnson, folks. Dude, the amount of content that guy has done in the last really the whole season, but really the last couple months has been phenomenal. If you don't follow him, you really should. He's tapped in with the Big 12 and does some great work. And I listen, I met Chancellor about 5 years ago, and he was one of my interns at Fox Sports Arizona. And I knew then that he had so much talent. And I'm telling you, folks, you're going to remember that name. And here in about 5 to 10 years, you're going to be like, damn, I remember when I saw that dude on McKale Madness.
There it is.
So pretty cool. Anyway, let's get to the tournament and Arizona's matchup against LIU. The Sharks, right? The Sharks, the Dolphins. I don't care, because they're about to get housed. They got a small lineup of guards that, and one of them was an ASU guy back in the day. Like, the matchup is absolutely piss poor when it comes to having to face the front court and the athleticism of Arizona. And that's what a 1-16 matchup usually is. We've seen upsets, but as Chancellor pointed out, it does feel like Arizona is as close to as close to upset proof as you could possibly get because of the styles. They're an amoeba. They can be anything. That's what they are. And that's probably the most difficult matchup you could find yourself against when you're having to face a talented team like that in Arizona. But obviously your first impressions on the bracket and LIU.
Well, you talk about Arizona being upset proof. Nobody's upset proof, but they damn sure are close to that because of one simple thing. Arizona controls the paint. That little square of painted wood belongs to them every night out. They shoot shots from there, 18 inches away. They defend and rebound all missed shots in the paint. And when you control the paint, I don't care how fast you run up and down the court. If you have no presence close to either basket, you're going to lose. Arizona does a great job of rebounding and defending the lane. That starts with Krivas and the shot blocking. So, when's the last time you saw a team get multiple dunks in the game against Arizona?
Oh,
you see what I'm saying? Like, so your bigs, you might as well forget that. It's not happening. Kansas got some at home when they got to rocking. They thrown a lob to the big fella, and they lost that game. That was a game where Kansas controlled the paint and was getting close to the rim and getting layups. But if you can't do that against Arizona, good luck shooting over Ivan Karshenkov. Good luck getting past Braden Burries. Good luck breaking down Jaden Bradley. Like, those guys, they switch off and hand guys to other guys because all of them love to play defense. So that's what makes Arizona so difficult to beat. LIU, they don't have the horses. They're not going to control the paint. But this is what I want fans to remember. You got 2 games in 3 days. That's all the coaching staff is thinking about. So don't be surprised if that rotation expands to 9 or 10 in the second half of that open round game, because there's no sense in having your starters out there up 20 with 8 minutes to go. You just can't. When you got to turn around, you got 1 day of rest, and you got to play again. So I don't think they're looking past them, but I would not be surprised to see some load management in this first game. You may see a few Wildcats step on the court and get extended minutes like an Aristode, just because you got to be smart. You're in San Diego. The goal is to win 2 games, not win 2 games by 40. The goal is to win 2 games, keep people fresh, get guys their reps, and then move on to the next game.
Yeah. Listen, I agree. And then the potential next round matchup will be against the winner of Villanova and Utah State, who a lot of people have Utah State pulling that upset as the 9 seed. Yeah, you call it an upset. 8-9 is pretty much the equal matchup. But Utah State is kind of a fan favorite to get to the Sweet 16. Now, that was before the Arizona prognosis, but still, Utah State's pretty good. Villanova is good. They're decent. They've had some good wins this season, but again, I don't think there's anything about either one of those 2 teams that is overwhelming to anything Arizona could present. When you looked at the entirety of the bracket, there's 4 teams in this bracket that you look at and you're like, okay, I wonder how they match up, and do they pose a legitimate threat to Arizona? So you ready for those 4 teams? To me, it's Wisconsin, Arkansas, Purdue, and Gonzaga. Those are the 4 teams that I think present the most logical issues for Arizona to get to the Final Four. Now, one of those 2 will get eliminated no matter what, if they have to face them in the Sweet 16, because it's going to be Wisconsin, Arkansas most likely facing each other to get to the Sweet 16. So they'll be playing in that round of 32. But listen, Acuff is a baller. He can shoot the lights out. He can carry a team. Carried them all the way to a SEC championship, for crying out loud. And then Wisconsin, they've got a lot of offensive firepower. But every time I look at Wisconsin against a tough defensive team, it isn't as clean as they would like. Much like Illinois, offensive efficiency out the door, but then they face somebody that has a good high-level defense, and it all just withers away. So when you look at this bracket, is there anything about it that concerns you? And I say concern loosely.
Gonzaga.
Really?
I'm not really worried about Arkansas, because you take the game plan from Houston, you take the game plan from Iowa State, and you do the same thing. You blitz the guard. He loves ball screens. He's gonna ask for ball screens. Arizona's been blitzing top level guards all season long in the Big 12. We know exactly what to do with a guard like that. Now, he's a special guard, but I don't think he beats us by himself. Even if he goes for 30, it's not gonna be enough to beat us. They're gonna have to play and have that ball moving. I think Tommy will come up with a great strategy for him. Purdue and Wisconsin, good on paper, but they don't have players that I'm worried about just breaking us down and beating us off the dribble. They run sets. We're very good at guarding sets. I think they have bigs, though. Purdue has the bigs that do concern me a little, but they're not athletic like ours. I think Koa and Krivas and Tobe can have their way with the bigs at Purdue. The Zags worry me for this reason. Graham Ike is probably the best big man in the country. He should be in the league already. He's a monster, and they go through him. Krivas is too slow. Tobe is big and strong, but Tobe might get in foul trouble dealing with him. Maybe. I don't know. They've got shooters. You're not going to get them to turn it over. They will be around with 5 minutes to go against anybody because they're that well coached. Now, the only reason the Zags scare me is because where was Tommy for 18 years? Who knows? These guys know each other. Like, they talk every day on the phone. Neither one of them wants to play each other. And I don't know that Tommy can be psyched out. I don't know if Mark can be psyched out. I think they're both past that. But you talk about an uncomfortable game. Tommy Lloyd versus Mark Few in the Elite Eight, legit bigs, legit guards, 2 storied programs. the master sends the sensei home, or the grasshopper beats the master, the Simba throws Mufasa off the ledge. I mean, come on, man. Anything can happen in that game. I don't like that game. I need somebody to take the Zags out so we can just go past that game. Basketball, I would still give Arizona a 6-7 point win against Gonzaga, but I just don't want to play them. I just don't, for those reasons.
I hear you. I hear you. I agree on your points about Purdue. I'm sorry. I absolutely have zero confidence in what Purdue could do in the tournament.
Oh, they're so fake. They're so see-through.
Dude,
they're totally see-through.
They really are.
Yeah.
Their guards. I don't know how the hell they did it against Michigan, but that just told me everything I need to know about Michigan too. Like, Michigan paper champs, man. I'm not even trying to hear that, man. The defense that Arizona plays, like the matchups, the physicality, like I just don't see how Smith would be able to navigate the way he did against Michigan and dribbling the ball around like he's a damn Harlem Globetrotter, and they're just letting him do it. Like, that just wouldn't happen against Arizona. Like, that's not happening. So I'm not a believer in them. Wisconsin and Arkansas, I think you can make a case for either one of them making a game of it, especially if they're on. If they're off, it's over. It's a wrap.
Right.
That would be another game where they would have to hit 12 to 13 threes in order to win, to make me a believer.
Exactly.
Gonzaga, oh man, I'm for the sentimental reasons. I agree with you. I don't think it would be ideal for Tommy and company to face Gonzaga in the Elite Eight, because you never know what could happen, and funky things kind of happen there. By the way, the last time Gonzaga made it out of the San Jose Regional to the Final Four, who was on that coaching staff? Tommy Lloyd, out of San Jose. Where would they have to play each other if they do face each other? San Jose. It's all lining up, baby. It's all coming full circle. But I am not, and I repeat, I am not a fan of the Zags. I think that they are just like Purdue. I do not believe in them whatsoever. They've been coasting through the West Coast Conference, eating their cupcakes and getting their, just desserts. And I just don't believe that they have what it takes to beat Arizona. I get DK's good. EK's good. Grant Foster's good. They got some pieces, but I've seen them too many times, like just not look the part. And now maybe it's because they get a little complacent in the West Coast Conference and they get a little bored or whatever. That's fine. But man,
I had the Zags 2 or 3 times this year, and 2 or 3 times they played a completely different game every time. One time it was the Graham EK show where the man had like 35 points with 10 minutes to go, and I was like, what the hell's going on? Then they had this kid named Fogel, freshman, 6'9", dunking on everybody, shooting threes. I was like, who in the hell is this? And then Miller from ASU, he starts hitting threes. And then Graham Foster's getting tip dunks. And I'm like, damn, they have 5 or 6 guys that could easily start in the Big 12, but they just happen to be in the WCC. And I'm talking just strictly off talent. I'm not saying individual talent. All those guys we named could start in the Big 12 on teams. So they're well coached. But Miller can play. And then I don't know if the big fella, but he's hurt. I don't think he's coming back. But the thing about the Zags is they're not going to fold. We talk about teams where if Akoff doesn't hit, they're going to fold. If Purdue, they can't guard anybody, and if they can't get their normal slow grinded out game, they're going to fold. Zags, they just don't fold. They just hang around, and that's what you don't want. You don't want that guy that takes your best shots and just keeps hanging around. They're too well coached to just go away. But I think, we could beat them. I think they definitely can be had. St. Mary's got them at the end of the year. St. Mary's got them at the end of the year.
Got them.
Yeah. So, they can be had. But the key is EK. Without EK, we just got to really come up with a good strategy. Do we play him straight up and invite foul trouble, or do we show him respect on the first touch and just make him give it up? Because if you make him give it up, they can still shoot out of that. The question is, will they?
But also on the other end, he's got to stay out of foul trouble as well.
Exactly.
He got in foul trouble from time to time as well. And so I think, I think it would be neutral for the most part. And so, then
that's a good point. That's a good point, because in a lot of the games I did, Graham Ike gave up a lot of layups to stay on the court. I think he's under instruction to give up layups rather than foul. I'm dead serious. I think he's under instruction from the coaches. Save your fouls, bro. Don't get in foul trouble, because the times when they got rocked, they were at ASU earlier this year. They almost lost. My first game of the season was Gonzaga at ASU. ASU was down 2 with 9 minutes to go and had a 3-ball in the air to take the lead, and it rattled out. And then Graham Ike should have gotten his 5th foul and fouled out, but they called an offensive foul. And basically, the Zags went on a run and put the game away. But they were on the cusp of getting beat by ASU earlier this year with him not having a great game.
Huddle around, kids. Let me tell you about how Master P became the head coach of Arizona State. It all started against Gonzaga. No,
all started against Gonzaga. He got the job.
Let's get to it. We know it's a 25-year hiatus between Final Fours, and hopefully this will be the year. But before we get to a little special segment that we have, let's talk about our potential upsets. And we'll start with yours, Corey. What do you have?
Well, I got Sean Miller sending the Cougars packing. And I think it'll be because Texas can defend, and BYU is trending downwards as they approach the tournament. They have not been playing their best basketball over the last 10 to 12 games. I think they'll be the first ones to admit it. I don't know why I feel like the gutsy, gritty kids from the ACC can knock off Purdue, but I looked at their wins. I looked at some of the big wins that they've had. They put the hammer on a few people, and I think they have the defenders to, like you talked about, ratchet up Purdue's slow offense and make them uncomfortable. I don't think Purdue's ready for their athleticism of Miami, and I think in a neutral setting, get the first half out the way, get down to some real basketball, Miami can knock them off. And this one here, this is what we talked about earlier.
This is what we call
I think that Iowa State ain't really cut out for this. I think they're going to come out trying to shoot threes against a tough physical SEC team who can stay with your shooters. And Kentucky's not the best SEC team at all. They're middle of the pack, barely getting in. But they are an SEC school, and they have athletes at Kentucky. And the one thing about their tournament, it is 50% talent, and it's 50% emotion. It really is. I don't know why. I'm not down on Iowa State, but I would love to see them be more physical.
Man, I hate everything about that, Corey.
I know, and you should. And Kev says Kentucky not making it to that game. Okay, we'll see.
No, I'm telling you what, like, I know we love to say, like, we look at these upsets and we try to think, like, what would be the kryptonite of this team, whatever. I'm telling you, I don't think people are ready for Iowa State. I just don't. I know that they lost to Arizona, and I know they've been kind of up and down. But watching Iowa State in person, even in McKale, I came away from that game thinking, God damn, those dudes are physical as hell. Like, they get after it. Like they are thuggish, and like you just don't think so because they're in damn Iowa, for crying out loud. Like nobody cares about Iowa, but those dudes are physical and they can D up and they can shoot the three. Like, yeah, the interior is probably the one weakness that they have for sure. But Kentucky doesn't have a big that can dominate either. So if we're going man for man, I like Iowa State all day if they matched up against Kentucky, if Kentucky could even get there. Now, here are my upsets. Ready?
Here we go.
So first, I got Akron beating Texas Tech.
Bruh.
I feel
bruh.
Here I am talking about toughness. But listen, I just think that with Christian Anderson getting hurt and bouncing back, and if listen, he has to be good. He has to be. He does not have any room for error because there is no JT Toppin to help out. Like, he has to be good every single game. So if he slips up just a little bit against the Akron team, who Arizona saw just a year ago, who has experience, who's coming back to the tournament for the second year in a row, I'm just saying there could be there. Now, I hate to go against Grant McCasland because I think he'll have his team ready no matter what. He coaches some killers. Like, that's what he does too. So I do agree. However, I'm just saying, I think they're gonna get got. Is what I think.
Put that up again. Put that up again, Kev. Akron on Texas Tech. Ooh, I just can't see.
Then I got Hofstra beating Alabama. Why? Because Hofstra has one of the elite defenses in the country on the perimeter, and Alabama loves to shoot the three. So I'm just saying, run and gun, baby, Hofstra. And then finally, you had Kentucky beating Iowa State. Kevin and I both said they ain't even making it to Kentucky because Santa Clara is going to take them out first. Santa Clara.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Nobody who took a scholarship to Santa Clara was getting offered a scholarship to play ball at Kentucky. They have superior athletes. They have superior players.
Didn't get offered a scholarship either. And
that was on us, though. That was on us. We didn't play good. So what you're saying is Kentucky won't show up. Because that's the only way Kentucky loses to Santa Clara is they don't show up.
I don't think Kentucky's that good. I think you got Kentucky. I think you got Kentucky from the past still in your head.
No. I've seen them play this year. They're not bad. They fell apart in a couple of games and ended up losing by double digits in games that were much closer. They made Mark Pope's job a lot more uncomfortable than it should have been because he has the talented players. They spent a boatload of money on NIL. I think it's the get right time for Kentucky because Big Blue Nation is like, what the hell did we do? Where's the money been going? What's up with the talent? We've been close but no cigar. I think there may be a chip on their shoulders with some of these high-level athletes that have underperformed this far. That's why I'm going to say bullish on Kentucky, but I know that they got potential they haven't reached. Santa Clara and the WCC has not seen or sniffed SEC basketball. This is the thing I like about the tournament. You got 30 games under your belt. You've been doing your thing. And then you run into the tournament, all of a sudden what you're doing doesn't work anymore. Do you have another level you can go to when what you've been doing, that little jab step pull up, that ain't getting open against Kentucky. That little spin move hook, that's getting blocked against Kentucky. So how do players adjust in real time to when their stuff doesn't work anymore? The reason I'm confident about Arizona's been in all kinds of situations where certain things haven't worked and they still found ways to win. But I love the tournament because it's contrasting styles and you only got 40 minutes to get it right. So I like – and to your point about Iowa State, I think their defense is smoke and mirrors. They came down to Tucson and they looked physical and they were running around, double teaming because you had to. You don't double team if you can defend. Double teaming is a sign of weakness. And coaches don't talk about it, and people in our genre don't talk about it, but it's the truth. You double because you can't defend. Nobody who can play
all the time, and they got away
because that's their formula to force you to turn it over. And when you don't turn it over, you beat Houston like we do. You can only double people who can be punked. If someone can be punked, you double them. Or if someone you can be either they can be punked and you can force them into doing stupid stuff, or they got somebody that's so damn cold, you got to go double and get the ball out of his hands. Those are only two reasons you double. If you try to double Arizona, you're wasting your time. You're letting Del Orso hit 6 threes. So you don't double Arizona. You don't double teams that have real backcourts. You double people who you think will cough it up. Or you double somebody that you like, man, if we don't double Krevis, he's going to have 25 and 15. So when I see them coming into McKale Center, flying all around, double teaming us because they had to, all that did was run up the foul count. Hell, we were shooting free throws with 11 minutes to go. So your little smoke and mirrors defense that looked so impressive to the pundits and the people that were calling the game, I was like, that's panic. That's him trying to last the whole game against the most physical team in the conference. They know 3 nights before they play Arizona, they got to double everybody. And they do it. But my point is this. I love this because you and I are going to be texting. I hope you got, I'm glad it's unlimited texting on these cell phone plans because we're going to be texting on every game, bro. Every game. And I get home Thursday morning, so I'm going to have time to get to my house, sit down, order a pizza, and I'm not moving. All day Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. I'm at the crib. I might take the iPad. I might take the iPad out to the hot tub. Yes, Kev, that's a flex. I have a hot tub. I will be in it with the iPad.
I will be in San Diego, and I will be watching as well. It'll be
there
fun.
You go. First hand.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited for it, and so I'm really excited for the good level of ball that I feel like I'm about to see. So I get to see St. John's, so that'll be interesting. I get to see St. John's up in person and see what they're all about, and so it should be a good time. And then Kansas, obviously, too. So before we go, I mentioned it a minute ago. It has been 25 years since Richard Jefferson and company got to the Final Four, got all the way to the national championship. Unfortunately, lost against Duke. And I started thinking, man, what was it like back in 2001? Because there's this trend that's going on, like that says, "Dad, what were you like in the '90s?" And then you throw a bunch of pictures, and I put one on my Instagram.
I saw yours. It was criminal. I seen yours. It was right before the show. I saw it. I was about to call you. That was amazing. You were really out of bounds. You're out of bounds, sir. You're out of bounds.
My grill was kind of jacked back in the day, so I'm glad I got that fixed. So, but let's just go through a list of some of the stuff that happened in 2001 in case you forgot, or God forbid we're not even born yet, which there's a lot of you, like my kids. So there we go. So let's start with number one. The iPad or the iPod first came out in 2001. Changed the whole streaming service industry. Crazy. The iPod. Crazy. All right, next one. Harry Potter. Also, you had Shrek and Lord of the Rings all made their debuts that year, which is crazy because those are some bangers of films. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Trilogies. Everything you've put on is that sequel so far.
Obviously, yeah, absolutely. And then the next one is Michael Jordan came back and played for the Wizards, which is not something I love to bring up. I don't even like to
hurt my soul, man.
Oh man, listen, I'm not gonna lie, I had Michael Jordan Wizards poster. I still do. I still have it.
Yeah, you're a diehard fan. You know that scene in Old Yeller when she racked that shotgun? That's man.
I've never seen that movie, but I've seen clips and heard clips of it. So
I think it's Cameron that has a famous rap line like, "So you washed up like Jordan on the Wizards." It's literally a diplomat line. It's crazy. That's bad.
And then we have this one. Obviously, 9/11 happened in 2001. It's kind of funny, like the more things change, the more things change the same, and yet we're back in the Middle East in another war right now. And I can say that because I was part of the first rendition of this, being in Iraq, and being at Camp Taji out in northwest Iraq and staying out there for almost a year. And so
thank you for your service. We appreciate that.
Hey, prayers up to the servicemen that are out there fighting in this war, and hopefully it comes to an end soon because it's just not necessary. So, and then I think we have one more. Ooh, getting a little slippery out here.
Man, take that.
J-Lo and P. Diddy broke up in 2001.
Best move she ever made. She had no idea.
Sure. Oh, and then
Diamondbacks, D-backs.
The D-backs win the World Series in 2001, which is epic. The one and only time anybody in the state of Arizona on the professional level, one of the four teams in hockey, NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball, and NFL, won a championship. And of course, I wasn't here. I just happened to not be here. I was marching in the hallways of boot camp while the Arizona Diamondbacks were spraying champagne all over each other. And
I'll do you one better, man. I have an embarrassing confession that I'm going to make right here.
Real quick, just so you know, This is how. If anybody ever questions my loyalty to the University of Arizona, 1, go F yourself. 2, I joined boot camp the day after Arizona lost in the national championship because I knew that they had a chance to go to the national championship. So I made sure that I didn't leave for boot camp until that next Tuesday.
Hey, priorities, man. Bear down first, and then we'll worry about defending the country after that. So appreciate that. So here's my deal, man. I have extremely bad blind spots in my pop culture history, which includes sports. Because from 1998 to 2007, I was in Belgium playing professional basketball. Mm-hmm. I was there from August till May for around 8 or 9 consecutive years. I went over 98, and I didn't leave till 07. So I wasn't too plugged in. The internet was just picking up, but there wasn't a whole lot of satellite TV. I wasn't watching college sports. I wasn't watching pro sports. I was just hooping, come home for 60 days, go back over there. So the 2001, didn't see it, didn't witness it, didn't really know much about it. Obviously, I was overseas when 9/11 happened. That was international news, so I got that on the local news channels, BBC Network, all those different ones over there. But it was so bad. I came home one day and I was watching the NBA playoffs, and this dude was killing. And I turned to my brother and I said, yo, who is this dude, Dwayne Wade? Like, this boy is nice. And my brother looked at me and said, are you kidding me? From Marquette? I said, where did he play at? He's like, where have you been? I was like, bro, I literally come home, watch the NBA Finals, and not know none of the dudes. I missed entire collegiate careers. Carmelo putting in all that work and winning that. Matter of fact, in 97, I was in the Philippines when Arizona won the national title. I found out at 3 o'clock in the morning from the guy in the lobby, like, hey, Arizona. And I was like, yeah, I got a hoodie on. He's like, no, champions. I was like, what? And I went up there, pulled out my little compact laptop. That's how old this was. I had the compact. I don't even still sell those. And that's how I found out we won the national title. So I have huge blind spots in my pop culture history.
Damn.
I remember coming home in the summer. My nieces and nephews wanted me to rent the Harry Potter movie at Blockbuster. How long ago that was. They were begging me to rent the video for it. I was like, what is this Harry Potter thing y'all talking about? Like, I was here, but I wasn't here. So, yeah, that's all that stuff from 2001. I remember it all. But, man, there's a lot of things that I just missed out on. Entire collegiate careers I didn't even witness. Low key,
I miss Blockbuster.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I miss Friday nights. What are we going to do on Friday night? We're going to go to Blockbuster. We're going to grab a couple movies, grab some snacks. We got the weekend all set. Like, oh, man.
And that's why you guys like you and I are happy. I tell the young dudes, you know the reason y'all striking out with these ladies, the reason you guys can't find love out here in these streets, you don't know what it's like to go to Blockbuster and move the box and go up to the counter and find out there's no movie behind the movie you want to get. You don't know disappointment. You don't know real disappointment. Nope. You don't know the disappointment of getting home and opening up a box and it's not the movie that you thought was in there because the teenager put y'all don't know about this.
You don't know the aggravation of taking that all the way home and then opening it up and you got to rewind that thing for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, or the movie you want isn't there, so now you got to settle. Because sometimes the girl you like don't like you and you have to settle. Blockbuster prepared you for life, man. You go in there, you want the new movie, and it's all somebody beat you to it. So now you got to go. If you can't get the Bruce Lee, you get the Jackie Chan. You understand what I'm saying? And sometimes you can't get the new releases, and standing, just loitering around Blockbuster, waiting for people to return stuff, hoping you'll get lucky. Yeah. Oh, it's a real hustle. Hustle.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Those are the days, man. Those are the days.
Yes,
so anyway, thank you for taking a trip with us down memory lane for us old heads. But listen, it's going to be a fun week. And enjoy the excitement. March Madness is unlike anything else in sports. It truly is. And I hope we get some more upsets this year because last year was kind of watered down. And I hope it's not a trend. Because the trend had shown that maybe NIL has taken away a lot from the mid-majors and the lower level schools. And it has. But I still hope we get some semblance of that because that's what made it magical. So if you were out in the San Diego area and you want to kick it, you want to grab a beer or something like that, hit me up. I'll be out there. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. I'll be out there until Sunday when the Wildcats hopefully win and move on to the Sweet 16. And then I'll be off to San Jose after that. So, but until next time, folks, you can follow him at College Corey on Instagram and on Twitter. You can follow me at Saul_Bookman. You can follow the show at PHNX_Wildcats. You can follow Kevin at Kevo Posts on Twitter. And you can follow their post-game shows. I'll be live from San Diego. These guys will be doing their post-game shows. Kevin and Damon doing some great work. Support my guys. Kevin, you got anything?
Go Santa Clara.
That's right. Go Santa Clara for the disrespect that Corey was
No, Herb, I love Herb. He recruited me when he was at Kentucky, and I was coming out of high school. He recruited me to come to Kentucky. My high school coach loves him. Great guy. I don't know if they're ready for that SEC heat, though. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I'm about to go watch The Last Dragon because Bruce Leroy is my blockbuster alternate. And for you guys, have a good rest of your evening. Love y'all. God bless. Bear down.
We all silly like the mayor.